Thanks, Laura. I'm glad to hear that. It's like you're on a high after you have good parent conferences. Anyone have any other moments they want
I was
to share?
proud of myself for finishing our paper.
Good. Yes, that's huge. Thank you, Rochelle. Yeah, that was a lot of work. For those of you who joined, yes, Maria.
Sorry. I guess this week I'm proud of myself for finally getting over bronchitis.
Yeah, how are you feeling?
I'm tired.
Yeah.
But I'm here. I'm really pushing through it.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, that's something to be proud of for sure.
Sorry.
Thanks, Maria. For those who joined late, we're just sharing a couple words of this week I was proud of myself when, just to get some onboarding started. Okay. Well, thank you for those who shared.
This week I was proud. I guess today I got observed by my boss and I was able to function. So I was proud of myself for that.
That's awesome. Good. Thanks, Shelby. That's great. I know observations are always stressful no matter who's in your class. So it's nice to have those go well.
We had a child that started, and for the first 4 weeks, she was a half day, and she was upset all morning and would cry, on and off for the majority of the day. But do the breathing techniques and, stay with her, make her feel comfortable. And this week has been just a total change for her. So I'm proud of myself and her, but for us going through that together. So.
Oh, that's great. Thanks, Kendall. Hi, Megan.
Hi.
Nice to see your face this week. We're just talking, this week I was proud of myself when, and you don't have to share if you don't want to, it's just a little onboarding in terms of us, we'll be talking about the spiritual preparation of the teacher that we studied 2 weeks ago.
Well, it was good timing for me because I was feeling a lot of pressure at that time when we were doing spiritual preparation of the teacher. And so I've been trying to get my work done for preparing, like John Wolfe said, and just have time to calm down. And I felt like it helped. So I guess good news and just trying to model and get them to calm down and be peaceful. They tend to just one of them will scream, and then the person next to them will hit the person because they screamed and hurt their ear. So then I have to stay calm.
Right.
Model gentleness and calm. And it's starting.
Yeah. Yes, that definitely tests your patience for sure. But as you know, it always it always pays off. Sorry, Shelby, I was just reading your comment about, all right, so we're good on hearing everyone.
I couldn't figure out what was happening. I was like, you guys are talking, but I can't hear you. Sorry, I'm a little tired tonight.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for sharing. So we had our break week last week, which I hope everyone was able to take advantage of or our work week, I should say. It was not a break week by any means. That was the wrong word I should have used because there was a lot of work to be done, 2 big papers. So I hope everyone felt that they could take advantage of that time. Anything that anyone want to check in about over the work week or any questions? Okay. So 2 weeks ago, we were studying the spiritual preparation of the teacher and its importance when working with children. So I do hope you took some time to really be present with this material and read it over. It's extremely important. I think the most important for the infant toddler level, as Megan was just sharing, we need so much patience throughout our day to model and to be with the children. So I think it's an extremely important part of our studies. And the self-reflection. So I wanted to invite you all to share any ideas and resources or practices that help you with your self-reflection, or help you lessen stress throughout your day and your weeks and your school year. Jane?
One of the things I like to do just to kind of regroup is make sure that I take time on my break for myself and to, find a comfortable place to be. I'm on my feet all day, and that's the only time I really have to sit very long and, get my body comfortable and just take time for myself. Sometimes actually probably half the time I go sit in my car and just kind of kick back, recline the seat a little bit and, maybe text my daughter or something like that. Just kind of take time for myself.
Yeah. Thanks, Jane. Yeah, I think it's important. I know a lot of schools don't have a place to go. So like you said, going to your car to have that time alone and really, take that time, I think is really important. So I'm glad you're able to do that. How long are your breaks at school?
Half an hour.
Nice.
We
Okay.
work 7 to 3, and then we get a paid half hour break.
Yeah. Great. Thank you, Jane. Hi, Jess. Maria?
Yeah, I would like to say that I am drinking a lot of water because I'm noticing that I kind of run out of energy, gas, and then I find out that it's because I'm not drinking water. But I am breastfeeding, but I get so busy that I forget that I need water, and then I get a headache or I feel super tired. So just giving myself those few seconds to sip water make a big difference in my work with the
Yeah, I know, it's amazing. There's so many mornings I go and it's already 11 and I'm like, okay, have I drinking anything besides coffee?
Yeah.
And it's so important but you're so, you're trying to be present with the children and be there for their needs. So I can definitely understand. Thank you, Maria. Shelby?
Okay, I'm clicking the correct unmute button. I go in the nap room after, because my kids leave at 12 because there was something going on. They didn't want to do nap in my classroom, and so I go into a different nap room, and I take word searches. I love doing word searches, and it takes me like 3 minutes to 5 minutes to like doing a quick one, and it kind of gives me time to like not think about anything or the word that I'm thinking about finding, and it's kind of nice to read through them that way and relax while the kids are sleeping.
I like that idea because it also keeps you off your phone, which I think sometimes can get you more, if you go check your phone, then you see emails and then your mind's still racing about things you have to do. So being able to separate that, I think, is a nice way to recharge.
I like my boss because she actually doesn't even want your cell phones like in your purse. In classroom, different classrooms. She doesn't want them on campus, and I think that goes a lot to the kids when they wake up and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Thanks, Shelby. Hi, Jess. We're just talking about, obviously, the spiritual preparation of the teacher that we studied 2 weeks ago, but I'm just sharing ideas and resources and practices that help you with your self-reflection or help you lessen your stress throughout the day or week or school year.
Barb, I just wanted to point out that coffee has water in it. Just saying.
Yes, thank you.
I'll go. So we are prepping for our International Day next week. And I've noticed that I've put a lot of time and energy into creating the outfits for my toddlers. Um, and just putting that like energy into just creating something and being like artistic and, sewing and doing things like just kind of just put me in a different state of mind this week. And they're coming out really cute. They're drying right above me. I can show you.
Yeah, let's see them.
We're doing Germany.
Oh my, that is cute. That's really
So that's kind of just helped me out this week and
cute.
with the report card conferences and everything. So just having something else to do to just channel more energy, more positive energy, is just something that I feel like I need to get back in touch with.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm sure that kind of sparked this idea of, okay, I need to find that hobby or make sure I'm making time for this because of the way it's making you feel. How many students do you have or children do you have in your class, Maria?
I have 10.
So you're making 10 of them.
No.
Oh.
We have 2 toddler houses,
Okay.
2 toddler communities. So we're both doing Germany.
Okay.
We have 20 total.
Oh.
So we have 6 boys and we have 14 girls. I don't have the girls one with me. They're at school drying. But I brought the boys home to finish them up because there's only 6 of them.
Right.
But we've done the colors of Germany. We've learned how to count to 5 in German. So the kids are really looking forward to it. And we have these 2 little dolls that we call our German friends, and they go, "Bring the German friends, bring the German friends." So it's been a really interesting experience for both communities to come together in a class like that and do that. And I just can't wait to see them in these thinking outfits. Like they're just so cute.
I was gonna say you'll have to follow up with the picture. Now we'll all want to see them lined up.
Oh my goodness, I'm gonna like post them everywhere.
Oh, that's great. Thanks, Maria. Rhiannon?
Well, I just like to try and keep doing a few things throughout the week that I like to do, which I like to go for a run pretty much as soon as I get home. And the best runs are usually on those really wet, cold, rainy days, surprisingly, because it just seems to refresh everything and kind of let loose and, start, I don't know, it's a good feeling. I also really love to just sit and do a puzzle on the days when I can't get outside or I don't want to. And also just going for like long walks with my dogs and just spending time with them, it just takes my mind off anything stressful and I can regroup again for the next day.
That sounds great. Thanks. What type of dogs do you have?
I have one great big mix. She's a Great Pyrenees, a Golden Retriever, and sort of a Shepherd cross. And then I have a small one, the big one's named Maggie. And then the small one, she's a mix, like a sort of a Rottweiler Shepherd. I don't even say Rottweiler. I'd say more Collie. They just, when they tell you when they're a rescue, they just tell you what they are. But I think she's a Collie. And her name's Peach.
Oh. Well, I'm sure you enjoy those walks.
Yeah.
Good company to have on a walk.
One more thing, I love, I play in a band every Saturday. I play the baritone saxophone, and that's another thing that it just kind of brings me, something relief and some joy that's different,
Yeah, absolutely. Great, thanks for sharing.
Thanks.
So it's been really hot in Kentucky. It was still 90 degrees this week. So I'm really over the heat. Because of that, I've been treating myself to like a lot of skincare, which is something I didn't ever really do or get into before being pregnant, but my skin's so itchy and so I enjoy my weekly sugar scrubs and face mask and all that.
Yeah, stuff. Oh, good for you. I know that helps, when you can relax your body and then you're just like, okay, you're in a better state to
exactly.
And
right. Yeah. So it's nice to have my face mask and watch Sex and the City or something.
You should have come on the call with your face mask on.
I should.
That's great. Thanks, Laura. Shelby?
I just wanted to pickle off of Laura. Like, I have found myself not getting pedicures and manicures like nearly as often as I used to, and now it's more of a treat. And I went and got it like an actual pedicure, not like the bottom of the barrel pedicure, and they just kind of do a little bit. I got like the paraffins, and she hooked me up with a massage.
Nice.
And I was like, oh my god, it was amazing. And just sitting there and listening to like classical music and not talking to anybody was so nice.
That's great. No, good for you. You have to splurge on those sometimes. You forget how good they feel. It's like you said, sometimes you just go for the basic one. I know, it's funny too. When you said not talking to anyone, I know when I come home a lot, I won't even put on the TV, or I'll just be sitting in a dark room, and my husband will come in like, everything okay? And it's like, no, this is like, I need this. I don't need sound right now. It gets a lot during the day. So that reminded me when you said that, Shelby. Just being able to sit is nice.
Going off of that, this has really helped me because I realized I don't really take time to do things for myself often. So going in a dark room, like when I get home, I've started taking a bath, and now I'm like obsessed with bath bombs. I've been to the store like every day to get a new one. So now it's like might be becoming a problem. But at school, like Shelby said, I don't feel like in the morning I'm still trying to find a way to have some practices throughout the morning, but I feel like it's pretty busy that I don't really get a chance. So like her nap time is like my first time to really be able to sit. And I've started doing like a devotional or something like that to focus on myself that way.
Nice. Thanks, Kendall. Yeah, baths really, they do get addicting. They're quite relaxing. Does anyone meditate? Does anyone find meditation helpful? Yeah. Saw a couple hands go up. Does anyone have any like organizing tips or systems that help alleviate stress for them? Being in our Montessori classrooms that are all orderly, that makes us feel good. Anything that anyone wants to share for them, whether it's in their classroom or their personal life, that just makes them feel good when they're organized to help alleviate that extra layer of stress. Meal planning or Kendall?
I meant to say the last time, so I guess this goes with this too, but something that's really helped my lead and I as we started, I don't know what they're called, but the sheets where we meet weekly and go over like changes you see in the kids or what you might need to add to the environment and things like that. That's been a way it really prepares us for the next week, and we've noticed a big change in how the children, react in the environment off doing that. So I think that helps us feel a little more organized.
Yep. And it allows for that reflection.
Yeah.
With that, the common sheet that you're both working off of, which is nice too. And you meet on Fridays and talk about the week?
Yeah, we try to go right after work on Friday, and we actually go out of the school environment.
Yeah.
So that's been nice too.
I bet. Yeah. It's great. Thanks. Any other systems or organizing strategies people have to help with their stress or make their week go a little easier? I try to say I'm going to meal plan in the beginning of the week, and it sometimes happens. When it does, it's like, yes, I did it. I feel great. And then here I am Thursday, and I still didn't know what I was making for dinner. So you try to get the systems in place, and sometimes they just one week.
I know how that feels. The crock pots become my new best friend.
Yep. Yeah. Especially as the cold weather comes.
Yeah, just throw everything in and forget about it.
And it's great because you think about it during the day.
So you guys know my fiance like he's like sitting on the couch over there, and he's either watching TV or playing video games, and he's like, I want a crock pot because his son, my stepson, like goes to school super far away, and meal planning I feel like would save a life. And I had to share that. I thought it was funny. I was like, I want one.
Yeah, they're great. I've also just discovered the Instapot. I don't know if anyone's tried that. That's pretty life-changing too.
Tell us more about that, Barb.
It's basically a crock pot that cooks in like 30 minutes. So you don't have to, like, if you don't have your life together, like I don't sometimes, you don't have to worry about getting it in before work. Yeah, that's been interesting.
Where can I get one of those?
Right.
Pot. Okay.
Mhm.
Making a mental note.
Yeah, pressure cooker is basically.
Okay, I was going to say, is it like a pressure cooker?
Yeah.
Okay.
So all those little things kind of help with the day-to-day stress, right? All right. Well, thank you for all that shared on that. So my next question is, when thinking about your career or your time in the classroom or your place in your Montessori journey now, what does teaching in a Montessori classroom do for you? What does it do for you spiritually, morally, emotionally, and personally? Who would like to share about any of those points? Doesn't have to be all of them.
It's been a fabulous exercise for me. I can feel my patience expanding. I can feel myself becoming more forgiving and more able to recover from being upset. Like I may be upset in a moment because of something that children have done, and I'm able to let it go much more.
Why do you think that is, Megan?
I think it's just necessity.
Mm-hmm.
Age group needs it, and
Yeah.
the training has been fabulous.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, all the reading and videos and encouragement, and I just love the philosophy. The philosophy matches what I think, and it's very empowering to have to be talking with people and reading and listening to ideas that fit what I believe,
Yeah.
giving me more power to be.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Thanks, Megan.
I think for me, it's been a reality check. It's really made me more self-aware of things that I didn't ever stop to second think before, or even realize, like things that I did or ways that I would say things. And it really made me appreciate the time with my own children more. You know, my son and daughter have 5 years between the two of them, and I take any opportunity I can to just sit with them and just watch them.
Yes.
You know, so the training, I'll be honest, it's a lot, and it's exhausting, but it really has it's molding me into the person I want to be and the person that I know that I'm supposed to be. And I'll tell anybody this: I love the children. I love my kiddos. Every day I see them, they light up my life. Not my personal kids, but the kids in the classroom. They light up my day. And as stressful as it may be, with them climbing and trying to swim in the fish tank and you know, water everywhere, it really, like Megan said, you believe in the philosophy, and it just really just sinks with you, and you know that where you're at, what you're doing, is what you're meant to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'll go. I think it's making me appreciate my role in the classroom a lot more, and appreciate the kids more, I think. I have a little story about something that happened today. I have a little boy, his name's William, and he has a dad that's kind of tough on him. He thinks he should be a man already, and he's like, I'm gonna make a man out of you. So William really likes coming to me for that extra support and hugs. And he's got this thing, when I'm sitting, he'll back into me, and he's like, I need a backwards hug. So he'll back into me and I give him a hug, and I usually give him a kiss on the cheek. And he's like, thank you for William's kiss. And then I have a little girl, Saoirse, that started just a couple weeks ago, that's just finally settling in. And so that happened today while they were waiting to toilet. And Saoirse looks at me and she goes, "Where's Saoirse's kiss?" So it was just really cute. And I don't know, it just makes me more aware of their needs and my role in the classroom.
Thanks, Jane. Maria?
Well, Montessori for me is becoming more important because I see a lot of things in my children. As Maria said, I observe them more, my own children, and I see now I see things in my baby that I didn't see on my son because I was so worried about other things, and I think I miss those moments. But I'm aware of that because of this training, and I don't have a lot of time to study, but I feel that it's worth because I'm learning about children and about how to become a better mom and a better teacher. And also, I feel that I can have hope in the world as teacher. I feel that we can help society to change and be better. I just watch the news and everything goes crazy out there, but then I get into my classroom and I see hope and I see that we can change. So that makes me think little by little, we can do something for this world. Is that?
I love that. Thank you, Maria. It's so true. I know there can be so much negativity, and then we can go and be present with our little ones in the classroom, and they do give you hope. That's for sure. And it for me at least, it keeps me going. So thank you for sharing that. Does anyone ever feel overwhelmed when they do the readings from the coursework and then go into their classroom?
Yeah, it's a lot to think about. I'm just working with 2.5-year-olds now, and I realize that I have to force myself to reread and pay attention to the information about the younger children.
Sorry, Megan. I don't want to interrupt. You're breaking up a little. Is anyone else? Can they hear Megan or breaking up? I couldn't hear the last sentence that you said.
I was also, but I know I will need to work with younger children, and I have to make sure I keep up on all the.
Yeah. Because this is your first time, correct, Megan? In the toddler, you were early childhood for 20 years, yeah. And it's whole nother developmental plane as you're learning. So it's a lot to your first year to take all in. I love family members in the pictures. Trish, your little one, and the dog. Trish, what's your son's name again? I forget.
His name's Liam.
Liam. Hi, Liam. Thanks for joining us. And Shelby, what's your dog's name again?
Her name is Luna.
Luna. Right. I knew that. Hi, Luna. Thanks for joining us. Sorry, Kendall, I cut you off.
No, that's okay. I should have raised my hand. I forget what I was even going to say now. When I first started about being overwhelmed with the course readings and stuff, I read it and then I'm like, I can't wait to, get in there and do everything this way. And which it is allowing me to be more self-aware. But when I first started at the school, we had 12 children, and then this year we have 16. So with 2. And so I often wonder, am I moving slow enough? Am I doing this the correct way? So that is a back and forth with me in my head, throughout the day. I mean, it is helpful, but then I'm also how am I supposed to do it at the same time?
Mm-hmm. I think that's where that self-reflection part is so important.
Yeah, that's why that has been helping us, doing that.
And that, there's not necessarily a right or a wrong way. I mean, we obviously have our Montessori way, but we think of it individual with each child and with each co-teacher that you had, like you were saying, Kendall, and reflecting on those experiences and what makes the most sense for those moments and those times.
I'm kind of the opposite. I feel like as the weeks progress, it's exactly what I need, like at that moment. For instance, when we did the spiritual teacher, I had just got my final child in the classroom who has really challenging behaviors. And just going through the lesson on the spiritual teacher, I was like, hone it in. Like, how do we fix this? How do I get him to engage? And today, surprisingly, he sat down and he counted 10 pumpkins. And I didn't even know he could count.
Wow.
Because of all the other, physical issues that we had seen with him and challenges that we've seen with him. And I was just like, man, these lessons, they're like hitting the nail right on the head each week for me. So they're helpful.
Good. Well, thank you, Maria, for sharing that. And I hope that it's that the coursework 2 weeks ago is something that you can all reflect on, throughout, not just 2 weeks ago. Use it when you are having a stressful time with a child or, throughout the school year. Because like I said in the beginning, it's extremely important for our, the infant and toddler teachers to be constantly self-reflecting and using those tools. So I'm glad that they are already working in the present moment. And that's what I love about this training too, as opposed to some other training centers. You go for the intensive summers for 8 weeks straight and don't work, and you're just in the classroom for 8 weeks, and then you all go to your respective schools and then come back for mid-years. I mean, there's a lot of different models, but although, this is an 18-month course and it's very rigorous, where you're applying everything you're using every single day into your classroom, which I think is so beneficial. And just as Maria pointed out. So I'm glad to hear that. Did anyone else want to share what Montessori or what teaching in a Montessori classroom or living a Montessori life does for them? Maybe something you do at home differently. Trish?
I think there's a lot of things now that I do differently at home just because I'm, going through this training. And even though Liam's 2 now, there's still, I'm still learning things because he's just a toddler that now we do a lot at home more than we did before.
Yeah.
It's nice for him too, I think, because since he goes to a Montessori school and then coming home and still seeing a lot of those same things, it's very consistent for him.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. Thanks, Trish.
Can I ask Trish a question?
Please.
How does your husband relate to Liam going to a Montessori school and then coming home to mommy being a Montessori teacher? Because my husband's spazzing out. Because my daughter goes to water play and she'll get the pasta out and she's pouring pasta and it's all over the kitchen floor. And he's like, Maria, stop letting her do this. I'm like, there's nothing wrong with it. We got a broom. She can clean it up.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's the school. And I'm like, I know, it's working.
I just kind of let him go, honestly. And he doesn't, I try to teach him about it, but only certain things. So we just kind of go with it. And him and Liam have a different relationship than like Liam and I have, and it's fine. I mean, either way, it's a great relationship. So
yeah, I just find it so funny that like it doesn't faze me like before, where I'm like, oh, she's in the pasta now, like that's fine. Where before I'd be like, oh my God, there's pasta everywhere. I was just curious if you had the same. Sorry.
Yep.
No, it's a great question. And something I know, I think we all have to be mindful of too. And I was just visiting my sister a couple weeks ago down in Maryland, and my 18-month-old makes a mess when she eats. And my sister's kind of looking like, at her kitchen table, I'm like, okay, I have to respect this is her home. And so, but you know, it's hard when, when there's other family members or friends that are not in the Montessori world and don't quite understand or appreciate. So that was a good question to ask. And if anyone wants to add to that, please do.
I can add to that a little bit, Maria. I mean, I just kind of been talking. I've been with my husband for now going on 10 years or 11 years, sorry. But we just recently married, and I've been with Montessori for a long time. But I've been trying to always kind of help him and teach him and kind of get him inspired about it. And then I made like comments like, yeah, well, I really don't want to have a crib for our children in the future. And he's like, what? Like, he can't quite get there. And I'm like, I'm just gonna have to just do it, and then he'll have to just wait and see. So I think be patient and he'll figure it out, right?
Well, what I do now is my husband works overnight, so I leave my lessons on my computer screen with a sticky note, and I say, "Here, read this," and I go to bed.
Great idea.
So he can understand this is what I'm going through.
Yeah, and my husband also he works evenings. Like he gets home at 12 o'clock, and I'm trying to explain it, and he's we just never had that time. So great idea. I'm going to read this. Thank you.
When I found out that I was pregnant, I was really excited to have my experience and my son be my guinea pig to do Montessori with an infant. And my family has pretty much let me take the the lead on like my expectations and stuff. And my partner's been pretty passive. But it's always really fun to educate, people about the whys of Montessori. So I've found that really rewarding to be able to do. And let's see how well we all execute once the baby is here. I guess we'll find out, but that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I would say be patient with the people in our life who don't quite understand Montessori. They'll get there through their own observations when they see. So they will. All right, so let's move on to the theme of being present. So in our readings 2 weeks ago, the child, Jonathan Wolf's The Child as the Mentor for Adult Spiritual Preparation, he had a part in his reading that was titled Spiritual Qualities of the Child's Ability to be Fully Present. And that's in our reading, so you can go back and look over the paragraph. I was going to read it, but you can go back, and it just talks about how children are present. And he states, as Montessori observed, young children are attracted to the miniature gifts of life: a roly-poly, a dewdrop, the tiniest seashell. This is due not only, to their close to the ground stature, but more importantly to their ability to seek and savor the delicate details of the moment. So, that children are just easily, more easily able to be in the moment versus adults, where we dwell on the past and the future. So I would love for you all to share how to be more present in your relationships in school. So with the children, how to be more present with your coworkers, with your administration, and your parents.
Because I'm leaving on maternity leave in 2 weeks, I've felt this like constant need to compensate for the time that I'm not going to be able to be at school. And so I had to stop seeing it as compensation and seeing it more as simply, time well spent, creating the connection and solidifying those connections between the children and my studio and myself, and also the parents. So I've been like an open line for communication since school has started. And I feel like the support between parents and myself has been very much reciprocated, and that feels really good. And it makes me feel all right about being gone for a couple months. So yeah, it's been nice. And I also was working really long days, and so it was hard. It got to a point where it was hard to like look forward to work in the morning as much as I love the kids, because I knew I was in for a long day. So in order for me to spend quality time with the kids, I had to cut back time. But it was the right choice. It was a hard one, but it was the right choice that I had to make. So yeah, I'm just seeing this remaining time as time, well spent and making it worthwhile.
Great. Thanks, Laura. Laura, you started with your class in the fall, correct?
Yeah, in August. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that's pretty impressive, because for October, I could see your stress going into the school year, knowing that you had this big event coming up, and have, that your absence, with your absence. So I'm happy to hear that. Does anyone else want to share how to be more present with children or your admin or parents? I think I'm most curious. Oh, go ahead, Shelby.
I work, you guys know I'm in like my 1 to 2-year-old classroom. Sorry, my brain. But I try to make a point. Last week I wasn't able to do it, but I've been trying to make a point that I send pictures to my parents, like in a email on Friday of like what their kids have been doing all week, and showing them like, hey, they don't actually cry all day long after you drop them off. Like they do this or they do that, and I think it makes them really happy to be able to see that, because I send home on like my daily sheet. I try and check a couple of like pieces of work that they focused on a lot or that they kept returning to, because I feel like we as parents want that, and I want to be able to give that to my parents, because we don't have as much like, hey, like they did this today and they had a great day. It's more like, hey, bye, which is what it's supposed to be. And so I think that they value that a lot, and so it helps a lot.
Thanks, Shelby. Yeah, I'm sure they do appreciate that feedback. They want to know what's going on, and the pictures. If you can make time for the pictures, I know there's also that balance too that I run into when I talk to teachers of they want to be present, so they don't want to have the cameras or the iPads out, but they also want to be capturing what's going on. So finding that balance too, so you can share all the joys and wonderful things that are going on in your classroom, I think is important. What about admin? How do people feel about being more present, or how are you more present with your administration team?
Well, I found that I need to be clear about what my needs are. I need to be careful not to carry any kind of negative feelings, because I can't blame them if I don't tell them. So trying to be like as effective as I can without being negative. That's basically what I've been doing. There's sometimes that some of the staff members behave in a way that I feel like is kind of rude. And I try to let it roll off me and move on and just focus on the children. So it's about needs, expressing my feelings, like I talked to them about not calling children babies, and they were very receptive. So basically that's what I'm trying to be positive.
Sorry, what was that last sentence, Megan? You were breaking up.
Be positive and communicative. And it's funny that Shelby talked about sending pictures, because I just got the clearance from my 5 family that it was okay to send pictures to the group. So that's a way I can do it easily, that I can just send one email to the group, get all the pictures. And I think it's important for them to see what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
They know what their children are doing. And it tells them a lot.
Yes.
Focus
Yeah.
on. Although I think it's to avoid a whole lot of taking. I just take a few really effective ones.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Megan. And the pictures do serve as a good parent ed tool as well. Maria, did you want to add something?
So right now we don't have a head of school. We have an interim head of school.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the communication and just decisions that we're policies in place and things that we're doing this year, and the morale of all the teachers has just been a lot better, because we're in search of a new head of school, and we're just trying to make sure that we have basically all our ducks in a row for when this new person comes in to kind of just take over and actually have like a well thing. So for me, my interim head of school has touched base with me many of times. Make sure, how's my training going? How is the environment going? And especially with this new child that we got, she touches base, like, how is everything? And my assistant just recently found out that she's pregnant. So she may be leaving because she's high risk. And they're just trying to figure things out. So there's still a lot of moving parts to it. But I think all in all, we're just trying to just be positive, like what was said, and just being in the moment, and that when our new head of school comes, everything is just where it needs to be, and we can just continue from there. So that's where I'm at with admin.
Mm-hmm. It's, sometimes nice as a teacher when they're looking for the head of school, because it really gives you that time to reflect on what the school does need and where you are struggling and what is working, and if you want to keep that moving forward. So although change is hard for a school environment, sometimes it does end up working out better in the long run, which I hope it does for your school, Maria. And she'll be there for the whole year, I'm assuming, correct? The interim.
Yeah, our interim head of school, she actually, she was there in May, right before school let out for the summer. And over when we had our in-service days, she was like, all right, I'm really relying on you guys to kind of walk me through this, but I have a vision and this is what we're doing. And she's been phenomenal. We wish we could keep her, but she's been phenomenal so far. And we're board run. So a lot of things have to go through our board and everything like that. But just the communication all around has just been better.
Good.
So she'll be with us to the end of term, so she can kind of wean in the new head of school. But yeah, there's going to be a lot of changes in our Tyler community, and we're all trying our hardest myself, not trying to think of what that is, and just focus, like you said, in the present and right now, and just keep the fact that our morale is up. The school looks the best that it's ever looked, and our kids are thriving, so that's the best we can ask for.
Exactly, and focus on that right now. That's great. Thanks, Maria. Amber?
Our school is kind of in the same position. We have 2 directors, but they are our lead primary teachers. So it's kind of hard, like, if something comes up during the day, to talk with them about it. But I've never had a problem talking to administration about a problem going on or a concern I have. So I have learned their schedules and the best time of day that I can go in. That's not like group time or lessons or somewhere that's like super disruptive. And both of the primary classes have slightly different schedules. So if I can't catch one teacher, I can usually catch the other. But it is really hard having administration as also a teacher.
Mhm.
It's,
Yeah.
it's pretty difficult. But we have a monthly staff meeting, so it's a little better. But if I
Mhm.
ever have like a big issue, I just call them. I call them and see if we can have a meeting either before or after school, or even like a phone conference.
Right.
And it's really helpful.
Yeah, I bet. No, that's important. How many primary classrooms are in your school, Amber?
We have 2 primary classes.
It's just so they're the 2 classrooms, and they're both the directors as well.
Yeah, and then we have an assistant director, and she's the elementary, the lead elementary teacher.
Mhm.
So all of our people of administration are in the classroom. And we have like an office manager, but she doesn't have any real like say so, and she's not Montessori trained or anything. So
Mhm.
unless it's a scheduling thing, it really can't go to her.
Right. So yeah, timing it is a big obstacle for you.
Yeah, and I have 2 children that are a set of twins, and they have been very high need
Mhm.
this year. They've had some medical things and just like personality things that I've never had to deal with or like experience before. So there's been a few times where I have had to interrupt like their work time to ask them what I should do, and it like I feel bad about it, but
Mhm.
kind of don't have another choice.
Right. Yeah, when it's that set up.
Yeah. But it works.
That's good. Yeah, I'm sure there's some positives and negatives to it. The positive that they understand what's going on in the classroom because they're there.
Yeah.
The negative, of course, is that they're wearing a lot of hats. So.
Oh yeah. And they're also going through training like to be directors.
Right.
So
Right. Yeah. So they're
they
learning.
have a lot on their plate, which like leaves us to kind of fend for ourselves, which isn't too bad because we're all adults and we can take care of ourselves mostly. But for issues, we have kind of an issue. We have kind of an issue if we have issues.
Yeah.
Curious, do you have like a lead toddler teacher in your group? How many toddler classes are there?
We have a total of 7 classes. We have 1 young infant class, and then we have my infant class, which we usually start around 6 months, and we keep them in our class until anywhere between 14 and 18 months, unless they're not walking. And then we have 2 pre-primary classes, which is 18 months to 3, and then our 2 primary, 3 to 6, and elementary, which is 6 to 12. 6-ish to 12.
So the leaders are not infant toddler trained. Are they sympathetic to what you guys need?
Yeah, I don't think they're toddler trained. They may have training, Montessori training for the toddler classes or infant classes, but they're both parents and they've both been in Montessori for probably around 10 years. I'm not entirely sure of their like work experience there. But they take their classes start at 3, so they're pretty familiar with the younger ones as well.
Shelby?
I just want to say that I kind of wish, like, my director's name is Sarah, and she's not in a classroom, and I kind of wish she was in the classroom because what everyone says and like my thoughts included, sometimes she has unrealistic expectations of like how she wants us to do something, and she doesn't really understand. Like, I recently tried to read my daily report sheet, and we have a toddler coordinator. She's actually the other one's teacher. And originally, like when I first started, I was told to go through her and, get everything cleared through her. And then if she had any questions, she could ask like our main director. And with this daily sheet, my director thought that because of licensing, I had to have like this section for the parents to fill out. I mean, it was expensive. Like, did the child eat last night? Did the child sleep? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it was going to have them in my room for probably like 3 to 5 minutes, like filling this out. And so I went to my toddler coordinator and asked her, like, hey, do I really have to have this on my daily sheet? And I think she was trying to advocate for me because I was really stressed about having my parents in my classroom filling this out. And I think she tried to advocate for me. And so now I've been told to go strictly to my director if you guys can fill in the missing pieces. I think my toddler coordinator tried to advocate for me, and my director pulled me in the office like next morning after, you know, my toddler coordinator had said, hey, I emailed Sarah and, you know, talked to her about this. Then Sarah pulled me in the office and she's like, hey, like, super friendly, but come to me for questions, and yeah, you need to do that on your daily sheet. And I was like, oh. And I've been slacking and haven't done it yet, but I'm really anxious to do it. I don't want to.
Amber?
So our director last year was actually, he had his PhD and a bachelor's in, it was a man, not that men can't understand the classroom, but he had his PhD and he had a bachelor's in business, so no like educational training or even Montessori familiarity or nothing. His daughter had been in the elementary program for 1 year and he took the director position. Our school was in a bit of a rough place, so we did need him, but it was incredibly hard to talk to him about anything happening in the classroom or anything. It took a lot of like explaining to get him to understand what was going on, which is how our two primary teachers became. They were assistant directors at first to help out, because we had an educational director, but she ended up leaving like in August. So they came in and helped out a lot. But with you talking about the when the child ate last and stuff, we have the same thing on our daily sheets, but only for children under 1, because after 1 they don't have a bottle, so, and they follow more, not a strict schedule, but more of like a real schedule. Like they're eating at the same time, they're drinking at the same time every day. Nothing changes. So yeah, after our children turn 1, I tell the parents basically like, hey, you don't have to fill that out, because it does take a lot of time. And for the children that are like iffy about being at school, it makes them really sad to see their parent there for another 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, my toddler coordinator called the licensing agent, and it's not a licensing requirement. It's my director's requiring me to do it.
Yeah.
That stinks. Yeah, they don't even have daily sheets in our pre-primary classes. They don't fill them out at all.
I do want to. I want to respect that it is 9 o'clock. I'm happy to stay on if anyone wants to continue conversations about admin and different things that go on the school. But if you have to go, I understand. I always love when the conversations continue, and I would, like I said, love to continue on if anyone wants to stay. We didn't get a chance to do our closing, but we were going to end with something you were looking forward to. So I all hope you have something to look forward to this weekend or next week. And if you have any questions, as always, we're here. And tomorrow is Friday. Yay! We made it. So yeah, I'll stay on if anyone wants anything. If not, have a great evening and thank you so much. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
I do have a question, Barb. I was looking for one of the books that we're supposed to get, and I don't know which one it is that we're supposed to get. The Being with Infants and Toddlers, I think. Sorry, I'm trying to find it.
Yeah. Oh, Brianna's holding it up.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, because there was that one, and then there was a Being with Babies, but I was looking on Amazon, and that book was like $80, so I wasn't sure if that was the one we were supposed to get.
It should be. I think I got it from some website that gives information.
NACY or something like that.
Terry posted a link on the community forum, and that's where I got mine, which I haven't got it yet, so hopefully it'll come in soon.
So I had trouble ordering from that site. I did go to Amazon, but I clicked on a used one, and I got mine for about $47. And from my previous cohort, they did say that the book did take a long time to come in, so they were waiting for quite some time. But